So it's been about a month, I think, since my last episode, and that's because I've been away for work, which has been busy and good, but I'm glad to be home, and so I'm back in Sydney, Australia, where I live at the moment. And yeah, so I'll be here for another couple of weeks, and then I'm off on a big Christmas road trip, like I've mentioned before. So anyway, we'll get into the crafty content, which is what you probably care about, and what I want to talk today about is some finished objects, which is really exciting. So the first finished object is a pair of socks, and the actual sock has exhibited, mentioned on the podcast a couple of times, but I finally put the heel in. So this was an afterthought heel sock, and the yarn is 3 Mums yarn, which is a local to me hand dyer, and it's 3 Mums, as you can maybe guess from the name. And so it's hand dyed Australian, it's an Australian hand dyed company, and so it's both their yarn. So this is just a mini that I picked up at a craft fair a little while ago, last year perhaps, yeah, so there's 2 of them, 2 finished socks. So I'm really happy about these ones. They're really comfy. It's my first ever afterthought heels, so sorry, I'll have to cut that out. I've had a cold and the cough is lingering, and it's not been very pleasant. But anyway, so I used the Susan B. Anderson afterthought heel sock, smooth operator, that's the one. So mostly kind of cast on myself until I got to here. Then I looked up her pattern, or bought her pattern, looked it up, and I knit the rest of the sock and then cut in the afterthought heel. So that's 1 pair of socks for me finished. And when I made them, I was like, oh, I thought they were really bright and I mightn't like them, but I have worn them a few times. They're really comfy, and I think that I will keep them for me and not give them to someone else, which is what I thought I might do originally. So very happy I have a pair of socks before the end of the year. And my next finished object is really exciting. So it's my Radiate Pullover by Joji Locatelli, and I knit that one in We Love Knitting. So this is the card here. It's really easier if we go in this order. So We Love Knitting, and the yarn is a 100% extra fine merino, an 8-ply DK, 100 grams was 210 meters approximately. So I used this Cool Mint colour. So I had 2 skeins of the Cool Mint, and this is the second skein, and there was 61 grams left. So I used 139 grams for the yoke, the cuffs, and a bit of the bottom, the ribbing, the bottom. And then I used the marble colour. So there's a few different dye lots that I bought this in, which was a bit silly at the time. I meant for some very clever alternating that had to happen. But anyway, I have a finished object and I'm really excited to show you. So this is it here. And I will probably insert some footage of some photos that I got my mum and my sister, or my mum, to take of me in my jumper. So Cool Mint up the top, it's a interesting yoke, and then this marble all the way down the bottom. And so for that design feature, I did the the Cool Mint cuff, and then just a couple of rounds on the bottom, which I think in hindsight, if I could do it again, and I probably could have, but I was just so relieved to have it finished, I might have done the band, the whole band green to match the cuffs, but the cuffs came later. So it's my first ever me-sized finished jumper, and I'm so happy with it. So it's Australian summer almost in a week. Yeah, in a week it'll be summer. It's already been pretty hot, so I've worn it a few times just to try it on, but I don't think that it'll get much wear until maybe next winter. But yeah, finally finished this one. So I started it in August and I finished it a week ago. So yeah, it took just over August, or September, October, November, about 3 months to make. And I had knit on other things in between, but that was my biggest project that I was knitting at the time. So Radiate Pullover pattern by Joji. It was really easy to, the yoke had some short rows, and I'd never done those before, or not short row shaping. And so that was really interesting construction, and I quite enjoyed it. I got really sick of the just mass of stockinette kind of from, oh, there's the microphone, from the waist down. and I knit the extra large size, so I did swatch, and when I measured my swatch I realised I needed to go up a needle size, but when I went up a size I probably could have gone down up a needle size to get gauge, but I should have gone down a size to make it a little bit more snug. It's supposed to have 4 inches of positive ease, which it does, but I've realised I like a slightly more fitted jumper. And then once I had tried it on for the first time and I realised that might be a problem for me, I amended the sleeves, so I only did a size large in the sleeves, which just required picking up a few extra stitches, and then I decreased down to the right amount, and I'm really happy with how the sleeves turned out. If I had done the extra large size, I think they would have been too big. Yeah, super stoked with how that one looks, and yeah, I'll pop some photos either in here at this point or at the end just so you can have a look, and I will put some finished object photos on my Instagram as well, which I haven't done because I only took them today. So next is works in progress, and I haven't really been knitting a lot after I finished my jumper, so the only things I really have in progress is 3 pairs of socks, which sounds silly, well, it sounds like a lot, but I had some yarn turned into yarn snakes by Freckled Whimsy, and you can find her on her own website at Freckled Whimsy on Instagram and the website, and she caked some yarn into tubes for me. So this is supposed to be a pair of socks for my dad. Our football team is the Richmond Tigers, and their yellow and black is their colours. So I got her to crank this up into a tube, and she did, and I've got it here, and I wound off 10 grams I think for the heels and the toe, oh no, sorry, for the heels, for both heels, but I got a little bit scared that I wouldn't have enough yarn or have a long enough leg. I wanted quite a long leg, so I've actually bought some black Regia yarn, which is hopefully will be delivered next week, so I think what I will do is make the toe and the heel in all black, so I can make sure that they match and that it's a substantial length in the leg, and then I'm not worried about the extra yarn. So that's some yarn to go in my cozy memory blanket. The next ones that I was knitting on from the sock tubes are ones that I got for myself. So I got Carrie to crank it into 2 tubes for me, and so there's another one of these, but it's already in my scrappy box for my cozy memory blanket. And I've separated, and I wanted to knit the toes 2 at a time. So I wound off enough, and I split the why did I have to split it? It was in 2 separate ones. Oh, when I wound off enough, I did something wrong. And anyway, I cut the yarn in the wrong spot, and I didn't realize that this would be a problem. So now I'm purling my toes. So I've had to turn the tubes inside out because the yarn was feeding from the wrong side. So if I just slide forward, you can see that that's the purl side. And I have managed to make them 2 at a time, but I have to purl the toe because I just have the yarn in the wrong spot from, I think, when I cut it. Yeah, I was kind of making it up on the fly, and I didn't have any internet where I was, so I couldn't check it. But the one thing I did do differently on these socks is get her to do the rolled hem cuff. Rolled hem. Anyway, if you, on the knit side, you can see maybe that it's like a 1x1 rib. Or maybe a 2x1, I don't know, anyway, it's a rolled cuff. So it should, I didn't have to knit the cuff on these ones, it was already done for me, which was awesome. And I've managed to match them. So what I did is I think, yeah, okay, I know how I made the mistake. So I cut it and wound off enough to make the toe, but I did 2 lifelines in that way so that I would be able to put the toe stitches on the needle so that I could pull down to that. But where the yarn finish was not, so when you knit 2 at a time, the yarn has to come from the back and you knit across the front, and the yarn was always in the front, and I pulled the needles out several times, rethreaded them, tried again, and I couldn't do it. And then one of the ladies at work actually said, well, maybe you'll have to purl it, and then it started working. So the only thing I've got to do is work out in the pattern if where it says SSK on the stockinette side, if I turn that into the knit 2 together and just essentially invert the pattern. But I've done one of each and I haven't figured it out yet, so I think I just need to keep decreasing and see how it goes. And I don't like purling at the best of times, but I'm finding that if you're just purling, it actually goes quite quick. And that's one of the reasons I haven't wanted to knit a cardigan because I don't like purling, and I knit continental but I can't purl continental very well. So anyway, I feel like these socks will probably get the back burner because it is involving a lot of maths for my brain. But yeah, we will get there. And I've also ordered some plain Regia, or plain sock yarn, that will match these socks and a few other pairs that I want to make for myself, and I'll just do a contrasting afterthought heel, just so that I know that I have enough. And then finally, my last work in progress is a pair of Felici socks, which I am just knitting, like normal knitting, not from a sock blank, from a sock tube. And I can't remember the Felici colorway, but it was one I bought last year, and it's a really cute sock. So I'm knitting socks 2 at a time again. I find that if I'm magic looping, I'd rather be doing 2 at a time, or I'm much faster on a 9-inch circular, which is how I knit these socks here. So yeah, I've had a few meetings where I could knit in this week. So I had done the cuffs earlier this year, because this year was supposed to be the year of the sock, and I was going to make a box full of socks, a pair of socks a month, which didn't really happen. So the cuffs were done, and then probably over the course of 3 2-hour meetings, so I managed to knit kind of that much, or from the blue to this light pale pink at the top. So I feel like these socks will be gifted. I may do a fish lips kiss heel because I have a copy, or I have a cutout of the person I'm thinking that I will gift them to's foot. So I can easily make a fish lips kiss heel, which I don't mind doing when I'm going 2 at a time, because it's really easy to do it as you go. But I wanted to try the sock tubes because I was thinking about buying a circular sock machine, which is a really large investment. So I figured it was worth sending yarn to America to get them made, to see if I would like them before I spent thousands of dollars on a sock machine. So yeah, so that's that. I have a few yarny acquisitions that I got in the last month, but they arrived at my mum's house and she brought them down. Her and my sister came and visited the last few days. So I've got some yarn from Circus Tonic Handmade, who is another local to me dyer, and I've bought quite a lot of Hannah's yarn over the years since she's been dyeing. And this is the Circus single, it's Dove, this one here. So it's a single ply fingering, 100% superwash merino, 100 grams. And then this one here is Fireworks Sparkle. So it's 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% gold stellina. And that colorway is Forest Kingfisher. So I bought these to use individually. This is for Helen Stewart's Knit Vent. It's one of the colors for that. And I saw it and I just decided that I have to have it. And I've only knit with a single ply once before, and it was a Ren and Ollie, and it was really lovely to knit with. So I love this color, and I thought I always like to support those local to me. So I bought that one, and then kind of to justify the postage, I figured I may as well buy another one, and I liked this. So I didn't really have any plans for those, because the next thing I want to knit is the Marinda Wrap by Amber O'Brien. And the yarn I had already bought and shown you. This is Hedgehog Fibers here, but I knit something with it, and this is going to be a kind of controversial topic or point of view, but I don't love hedgehog. I love the colours, but I don't love to knit with it because I find it really splitty. So I'm in a bit of a conundrum at the moment. I'm thinking I might put these on a D-stash, all 3. I bought them this year at a yarn festival for this particular shawl. And it's pretty much the same colours that she used in the birthday cake's the same, and then these 2 are the closest to the Madeleine Tosh that she used in the actual pattern. So I'm not sure if I don't think I want to use the hedgehog. So I have bought a skein of Madeleine Tosh, and I think that one's a single 2 that I managed to get, or it's a twist sock. And it's in that Silver Fox colourway, which is the right colour for the pattern. And then I think instead of those other 2 colours, I might use these and have it so it's Madeleine Tosh and Circus Tonic. So not sure about that, but we'll see when that one arrives, we'll see how I feel about it, and maybe I will make that Marinda Wrap with those. I really don't have anything else nitty to talk to you about that's like things I've made or what I've got in the works. Yeah, and I haven't really had any other acquisitions arrive. So the next podcast will probably be the stuff that I've bought recently that's turned up, which is cool. So that might be maybe next week, probably the week after, realistically. So yeah, I guess a little bit about a catch-up or what's been happening. So yeah, like I said, I haven't podcasted for about a month, and that's because I've been away for work. So in my job, when I go away, we go away, there's a really big close-knit team, and we don't have any internet for a lot of the time. So yeah, I've had quite a bit of time to knit, but I'm also studying for a really big exam for my work, and that's taken up a lot of my time. So I finished my jumper on Monday, like I said, and it's Saturday today. And I got back yesterday from my big trip, and we didn't really go anywhere exciting, so I didn't really have any cool stories about what we did, which is annoying, but kind of just is what it is. And yeah, so I'm back for a little while, which is awesome. I don't have to go away again. Like I said, I'm studying for these exams, which will be over in mid-December, and hopefully I will pass. So I've kind of just been knitting socks in my time between study, and then I'm planning on going to knit night on Tuesday at Skein Sisters, which is my local yarn store, and I haven't been for like 2 months now, and I've been really devastated to miss it every second Tuesday, so I'm going back. I might go for a sit and knit tomorrow afternoon, which is something that we can do on a Sunday, or you can do any time, but there's a group of people who go on Sundays, and so I might turn up for that. And then also I'm hopefully next week catching up with Laura from the Lola Star Creates podcast. She lives about an hour and a half from me in Sydney, and we met once or twice in real life, and we chat on Instagram, and I really want to have a meet up and sit and knit and get to know her better. So yeah, hopefully that will still happen if she's free, and that will be awesome. And I've had some really interesting like yarny discussions with her, especially about hedgehog. She's very passionate about that, and if you should definitely go and check out her podcast. Yeah, and that's all I'm going to be doing really is for the rest of the weekend. Got a few errands to run, and then I'm going to be catching up on all the knitting podcasts that I have missed out on. If you love jumpers and you are in the mood for trying to find out your next pattern, I definitely recommend the Christy Glass Knits Tell Me About Your Rhinebeck Sweater, and I will pop a link below in the description box so you can check that one out. I watched that this morning. A tip for watching YouTube, which you probably know, is not if you're like I have to Chromecast onto my computer, or sorry, onto my TV if I want to watch it big screen, or usually I just watch YouTube videos on or knitting podcasts on my tablet, on my little iPad. But I watch things usually at 1.5. So like this podcast will go for about 20 minutes, and if you want to finish it in 10, you could watch it at 2. But 1.5 is usually like a pretty good setting. So I've recommended that a few times to a few different people. That's how I listen to my audio podcasts and whatnot. So yeah, that's all I have to talk about. I have received a few copies of Handmade, and my new pom-poms coming out. Hopefully I'll get that next week. And the new Making magazine, I think that's what it's called. I will link it. It's by Say Little Hen, and it's episode number 2 is coming out on the 1st of December, which is in a week. So that'll be really cool, and I'll definitely talk about that on the next episode, or the next one that I record when that has come out. But yeah, that's all I have for today. A bit rambly, and I'm sorry I sound a bit strange because my voice is still not back to normal after I lost it I've been sick for about 4 weeks, or almost 4 weeks. I lost my voice pretty much completely for about 4 days there, which was a few weeks ago, and I've got this horrible cough that's hanging around. So hopefully you're all well, and yeah, thanks so much for watching, and the light's gone really funny now, so I'm going to sign off. Thank you. If you want to find me online, you can follow me on Instagram as @mad.about.you, EWE, or you can see me on Ravelry, and you can see my project notes for my Radiate pullover and all my other projects that I've knit so far. And that's Madbell on Ravelry as well. So thanks so much. Have a great week, or 2 weeks until I see you next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.